Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 5th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I've been having a good Tuesday, if you will. Today started pretty ho-hum, pretty standard. We got up, we went to work. Work looked initially very slow, very sparse in the beginning, but I've been having we got a new lead for an apartment upstairs, and they like to be a little bit more on it. So they've been coming down like every morning, more or less to check in, which, if I'm being honest with y'all, I don't like. I was initially very rigid about it at first because I generally just don't fuck with topsiders, as I like to call them. Essentially, just people who work on the upper floors. I'm a first floor guy. So anyone who is on the floors above us, I just don't fuck with them in general. They generally lead to getting into my hair, getting on my back about this, that, and the third. And I don't like that. So I was very apprehensive, but I've been liking. I think we're going on about a week and a half of this. So it's like, at least it's nice that they're checking in. It doesn't seem like they're coming to make sure I'm working, but more or less wanting to actually get a lay of the land for the day so that they're not surprised, which I wish leads and supervisors were doing at my job the whole time. It would be nice, as opposed to a random end of the day check and they say, "Hey, are you good?" And then they just walk away. So, at first I was very cold, very rigid to this person, but I've been warming up to them. And overall, they told me, "Hey, looks really good right now. That's great. We love that. But, being that it's Tuesday, it might be a bit busier down the line." And I was like, "Okay, I appreciate that heads up." So that was really nice communication. I was actually very surprised about that. I like that. Hopefully we keep that going. I'll keep you posted. But after that, we just kind of got through the day. It stayed steady. So, I wasn't able to really fully piss off and hang off at maintenance or anything like that. But I had a couple of, fun little conversations and stuff. And that was good. So that was a good way to pass the time, get through the day. After work, we go to the gym. Gym was a busy Tuesday, but overall good. I think I missed a couple of little machines, some light work stuff. I didn't get to work on my lats or whatever, but, I can either make that up tomorrow, or it's just no big deal. I never have to hit every single thing that I would like to hit. I just like to hit really my Smith machine so I can do some bench press, some squats, some deadlifts. And if I get the free weights to kind of just do some other compound stuff and, things of that nature, I'm generally happy. It's a good use of my weight training. But yeah, it was also a little bit different. I have a friend who comes through, also a listener. What's up? And we got to catch up a little bit, and we were on the Stairmaster for an hour, yapping about shit, catching up. That was very cool. And also just a really good way to, get your cardio in. I think looking at the numbers, I burned an extra 100 or so calories. I was like, hell yeah, and I didn't have to hop around. But I generally do like to hop around in terms of what my cardio process is. I like to just switch it up every 15 minutes, station style. So that way I don't get too bored or too tired doing the same thing. So it gives me that little variety in the day, and it makes it feel not as long of a process, which I like. So yeah, overall, it's been a really good day. Now we switched it up again when I got home because I wanted to cut my hair. Normally I like to cut my hair after I do all my podcasting and eating. It's just, makes sense, right? You get through everything before you get that shower in, cut your hair, and then, call it a day, call it a night, whatever. But I knew that if I did that, I would be way too tired and I would probably talk myself out of it. So I just said, okay, let's do some stretches, let's eat our little snack, and let's go bald. Let's just make this a bald head. And overall, that went pretty well. I generally, if I'm doing well, if I'm efficient, I can generally get my hair cut in about 50 minutes. That is very quick if I if I'm on it. Usually it's over an hour because I'm very finicky and I want to get it as close to perfect as I can. I never do, but overall we made good time. So I was able to cut my hair, and then I don't know why I said it like that. Cut my hair, and then take a quick shower, all of that. A little out of order, but here we are, ready to yap. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, that's all my personal stuff. I'm bald headed and I'm happy, and that's good. We'll take it. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. Okay. This is a bit of extra food corner. I know I don't talk about the food as much as I used to, but past couple days, actually past few days, I've been eating strawberries as my fruit of the day. I will say though, 2 out of those 3 days, I was very slutty with the fruit. I was very slutty with the strawberries, I should say. I mean, no, not in the way that you think, though I wish. Um, we just we put sugar on them, and then we put some honey on them, and that was the first time I ate them. Very yummy. Then I ate them normal, so I can at least say, hey, I did eat a fruit style. And then today I did the sugar and the honey, and I said, you know what, fuck it, put the whipped cream on top. Let's go. And that was only the last remaining thing of strawberries. So yeah, it was good. I definitely have changed my pacing when it comes to strawberries, berries in general. Generally some of my favorite fruits to eat. It's just the problem is they do not sit long enough in the refrigerator. For me, around day 4, if you got strawberries left in there, they're moldy. They got that white shit on them. They're cooked. So I tried this time to be more efficient about how I ate them, and that was good. I think I'll just try to keep that pace for eating my berries from now on. All right. Enough of the food corner. All right, let's get into some news. From CNN, suspect arrested in killings of abandoned Tennessee babies' relatives. The suspect in the killings of 4 relatives of a baby found abandoned last week has been arrested after a week-long manhunt across rural Tennessee, according to police in Jackson. Austin Robert Drummond, 28, was caught in a wooded area Tuesday morning after being spotted by residents, Jackson Police Chief Tom Corley said during a news conference Tuesday. Authorities received multiple calls of sightings around 8 a.m. Local time, allowing police to place more resources in that area. An additional citizens' call at 8:57 a.m. led to Drummond's arrest by 3 nearby officers at 9:05 a.m., Corley said. Today we find some peace in knowing that the suspect is no longer a threat, but remain committed to the families, the community, and to justice, the chief said. Prior to his capture, Drummond was staying in a vacant building, officials said, without elaborating. So I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Because he was on the lam, he was in the wind for about a week, which, I mean, that's pretty good amount of time to be hiding out in terms of a manhunt. I was very curious how he did that, if maybe this was some kind of mountainous area. I wasn't really akin to the layout, but okay, hiding out in vacant buildings, that does make sense. But, with the community helping, saying, hey, we saw him here. I think they go on in the article to say there's a camera sighting of him as well. So, a lot of eyes were on him, and they wound up being able to apprehend him. Let's see here. I'm going to kind of skim across the part I just summarized. Drummond, a convicted felon with alleged ties to a violent street gang who was out on bail on an attempted murder charge relating to time he spent in prison, was wanted in connection with last month's deaths of James M. Wilson, Adriana Williams, Courtney Rose, and Braden Williams. Their bodies were found July 29th in Tiptonville, a town in northwest Tennessee, Lake County, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said, or the TBI. They talk about the baby daughter of Wilson and Adriana Williams. Was found abandoned in a car seat in a random front yard. We talked about that previously. I mean, we still don't have an exact motive, like what motivated Drummond to do this. It is believed, though, that it was like with the people who helped him. I believe it was 3 people who helped Drummond in terms of his escape, getting away, and all that. It's believed that they had connections to Drummond via the Vice Lords gang, which is the gang that they were all a part of. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, to a certain extent, you could get how someone's loyalty it can get so warped and like deep that they're like, yeah, I'll help you with your murder. I'll hide you. Like, but even then, it's like that's pretty. Like, whew, that's pretty rough to be like, yeah, no, that's my homie through and through. But it does make a little bit more sense, I feel like, with the gang affiliation. It's like, okay, so it's like y'all are affiliated. That kind of makes sense why you'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go back for you. You know what I mean? Not to absolve it or anything, but once again, I do try to make as most sense in my head on why people do this shit. I think it's another reason why I like to just come on here and talk about these stories. Let's see here. What else did I really want to pull? I'm gonna keep scrolling. See what's recap, what's not. When contacted by CNN with questions about the investigation, the TBI referred only to its news releases. The releases do not detail how the 4 were killed, how they were found, whether investigators know of a motive, or who may have left the baby in the yard near Tigrit. They go into a bit of Drummond's history. I guess we can go and read a little bit. Even before the 4 victims were discovered in Tiptonville, Drummond had a criminal history. Had just gotten out of prison last year, and at the time of last month's killings, was out on bail after being charged with trying to kill someone while he was incarcerated. Drummond's criminal history dates to July 2013, when authorities said the then 16-year-old robbed a Circle K convenience store in Jackson just after midnight. Drummond pulled out a pistol, pointed it at the store employee, and demanded money in the cash register, according to court documents. He was convicted in 2014 of aggravated robbery and sentenced to 10 years in prison. After the trial, an incarcerated Drummond called his father and made threats against the jurors and the robbery victim. District Attorney Jody S. Pickens, who serves an area including Jackson, told CNN on Monday. For that, Drummond in 2015 pleaded guilty to several counts of retaliation for past action and was sentenced to a further 3 years in prison, making a combined 13 years according to Pickens and court records. When Drummond was scheduled for parole hearing in July of 2020, Pickens' office sent a letter to the Tennessee Board of Parole saying it strongly opposed parole, calling Drummond a dangerous felony offender. I mean, it seems like they were right in the money about that, unfortunately. Let's see here. Just more or less going to scroll through some more details here. They also confirmed that, he was a member of the Vice Lords. Drummond would never receive parole, and he was released from Northwest Correctional Complex in Tiptonville in September of 2024, having served just under 11 years, counting pretrial time served and credits from the Tennessee Department of Corrections, according to Pickens and court records. Let's see here. More or less going to scroll through the rest of the criminal details. They try to talk to his lawyer, Drew Farmer, but he has more or less declined comments, which makes sense. Obviously, your client is he's neck deep, and I don't think you want to say anything that's going to incriminate him further or stoke further unrest against him. So that does make sense. But at least we are wrapping up this part of the story, and now Drummond is off the streets. We will be getting into the trial phase as that progresses. Obviously condolences to the family, everyone involved going through that, obviously surviving family members and things of that nature. Another reason we're going to be sticking around with the story is to figure out what happened, like what motivated all of this to go down. I really would like to know that and bring that information back to y'all. But yeah, let's move on to another killing that took place and is now going through a trial period. From CNN, again, White South African farm owner on trial for allegedly murdering 2 black women and feeding their bodies to pigs. Which I want to go through. See, I don't have this one in the thumbnail. I'm thinking about it. So we'll get to the names as we get there. But a white South African farm owner and 2 employees are facing trial over the alleged murder of 2 black women who prosecutors say were shot dead for trespassing last August and their bodies fed to pigs, stoking fury in a nation already reeling from racial tensions. The women were said to have been killed by Zachariah Oliver, 60, and his workers, Adrian DeWitt, 19, and 45-year-old foreign national William Musoro. The men appeared at the Limpopo Polokwane, I'm going to say Polokwane, might be wrong there, probably wrong there, High Court on Monday in the northern Limpopo province. A regional spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa, or NPA, told CNN. The trio are facing 2 counts of murder. Sorry, it scrolled ahead on me. The trio are facing 2 counts of murder, attempted murder, 3 counts of defeating the ends of justice, and possession of firearms and ammunition, the NPA said in an earlier statement. I will say that's a nice thing about covering international news is you get to like hear different ways of like how the law works and like different terminologies for things. I always kind of find that a little bit interesting how like the sausage is made a little bit differently in every country, every place. But Musaro, described by police as an illegal immigrant, was additionally charged with contravening sections of the Illegal Immigration Act, a police statement said. They were not asked to enter a plea before the hearing was shifted to Thursday. MPA spokesperson in Limpopo, Mashudu Malabi Desangi, we're going to say that. The men were arrested after police investigations led to the discovery of the decomposed bodies of the women in a pigsty on a farm in Sibiying outside Mankwing on August 20th, 2024, the police statement said at the time. The investigation began when a 45-year-old South African woman went missing after visiting the farm on August 17th, 2024, accompanied by a 35-year-old foreign national woman, police said. Both women sustained gunshot wounds, and a 47-year-old foreign national man who was with them escaped but was also shot and hospitalized. The survivor told reporters that one of the murdered women was his wife, the other was their neighbor. They had entered the farm to collect expired and abandoned dairy products, he said. And for that reason, they were more or less executed. Like, I mean, you could say for trespassing, you could say, well, oh, you know, they were stealing, but that doesn't make you judge, jury, and executioner. And apparently this has been a thing that has been kind of going on in South Africa in terms of farmers wanting to defend their land, defend their, you know, their product or what have you. And they go to the lengths of killing the people who are, you know, on their land, and they're saying, oh, you can't be here. And I'm not, going to wait for any kind of police out here. I'm just going to take matters into my own hand. And I mean, maybe in their heads or whatever, they think that they can chalk this up to defense, home defense, whatever. But it's like, no, you're just executing people. Like, I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it is to me, at least. I don't know. Similar murders have been recorded in South Africa in recent years. In I'm fucking this up. Mpumalanga. In the country's east, 4 men, including a 24-year-old farm manager, are facing charges of murder and kidnapping for allegedly killing and burning the bodies of 3 people accused of stealing sheep last August, the NPA said. We go through another story here as well, but, we're just going to kind of breeze through that one. So yeah, it's definitely sad. It's definitely unfortunate that people lost their lives just trying to get some milk, for either themselves or maybe they're going to flip it or move it. We're talking old ass, expired ass milk, and you killed them for that. And even in the other, the other story mentioned in here, over sheep, I get it. This is your commodity. You're trying to fucking make a living, but that doesn't mean you get to take someone's life over it. Like, come on now, Anyway, wanted to cover those 2 serious stories. The rest of the stories, though, for a change are less serious. Granted, We got to boo Elon Musk. We got to boo Tesla. But I like doing that. I think it's fun. I mean, the only thing that we really have against the rich is to, make fun of the motherfuckers, tease them, do a little mocking. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, from I believe this is oil price. I'm not entirely sure, but we can also just quote Yahoo Finance as well. Tesla approves staggering $29 billion share award for Elon Musk. So, the rich get fucking richer, no? Let's see. I hate how they kind of start this up. The board of the world's most valuable car maker has approved the award of shares to Chief Executive Elon Musk worth a staggering $29 billion. 21.7 billion pounds. I don't really care about that. In efforts to prevent the billionaire from leaving the firm. The new award by Tesla, which amounts to 96 million new shares, comes as a part of a new pay deal after Musk threatened to leave the electric vehicle maker if he was not given more stock. It should also boost Musk's voting power on Tesla's board. Tesla's board wrote on X, which is owned by Musk, that it is imperative to retain and motivate our extraordinary talent, beginning with Elon. It added, "We are confident this award will incentivize Elon to remain at Tesla." Now, if you're like, this sounds familiar, it sounds like, isn't this guy got some money promised to him like a long time ago? And hasn't Isaiah yapped about this shit before? Correct the mundo, my dear listeners. The move comes after a 7-year legal battle between Tesla and Musk over a previous $56 billion award for the chief executive, the largest in U.S. history. The package was struck down by a Delaware court in 2024, who ruled it was excessive and unfair to shareholders, causing Musk to since repeatedly threaten to leave the company. So, I mean, he had kind of made this fucking play to begin with to get this big number. It had initially gone through, but then there was like some opposition to it. It goes all the way up to Delaware, and they're like, yeah, no, this is a bad deal. It just doesn't make sense that you're going to give this man this fucking much money. It doesn't matter what he's doing. I don't care if he's sleeping under the table sometimes. Like, who gives a shit? You can't pay him this much. You have to rework it. And I mean, essentially they said, okay, well, we'll re-vote on it. And they, obviously initially said, okay, we still want to give this man our money. Yeah, there were some people who were kind of opposed to giving him this much, but overall, we think he's worth it. We want him on. Even through all the crazy Doge shit, all of the loss, and the fact that he's still fucking doing the American Party shit, even though he said, I'm done with the politics, I'm going to focus on Tesla. Nah, fuck it. We fuck with Elon. We ride with Elon. And so they're going to give him this much fucking money. Let's see. Tesla's share price increased 2.58% in pre-market trading to $309.38. $309.38. I don't know why I said it's so funny. The stock remains down by around a fifth since the start of this year. So it's still down even though it got that boost up. I was curious too. I don't remember if I mentioned it when we were talking about Tesla taking that L in terms of having to pay out for being responsible for those deaths and stuff of the auto driving. But it really wasn't talked about much in the news. I haven't heard any economy kind of saying, yeah, that's a really big blow for Tesla. So I'm assuming it really isn't, and it was just wishful thinking on my end. But I mean, hey, overall, they've kind of been getting shellacked since, especially since Elon Musk and Trump, squatted up and did all this fucking stupid bullshit. Doge went fucking crazy on it, and then they had their fucking falling out, and, Tesla took hits the whole fucking way. It's also worth noting, too, as I was, like, kind of combing around, doing my research on this story in particular, I came up with some, like, breaking news-ish stuff in terms of more of a separation, fallout, if you want to call it, between the Trump administration and Elon Musk, or at least Elon Musk's even vision of what Doge is, which is, like, essentially he had 5 tenets that he wanted to, like, kind of see happen in Doge, and he wanted to, like, see come to fruition. And it seems like the Trump administration's like, yeah, whatever. We're going to do our own thing with this thing. It's our thing. It's not his. We had him here. He did his little bit, and now he's gone. We're doing our shit now. Let's see here. Was there anything else though? Moving back to the share stuff, it looks like we're more or less caught up. Yes, I mean he's still gonna make some money. I don't know if the deal in terms of like if it's fully dry, like if he's actually gonna get this $29 billion. We'll see if he doesn't. I mean, I would love if he doesn't. I don't want this guy to ever see this fucking money in a perfect world. But yeah, it looks like they are bound and determined to get this dude oodles and oodles and oodles of fucking money. No surprises there. Once again, though, breaking news, a bit of Linda Yaccarino update. I'll read this headline real quick. CNNBC, former ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino takes helm at digital health company eMed. I believe, just quick summary here, they like sell Ozempic, Wegovy. It seems like a nice landing pad for her post X, the everything app. So, I don't think there's going to be any white supremacy talk here at this company. I don't think she's going to really ruffle any feathers or anything like that. So, good for her, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our last story, though. I wanted something light. I heard this story, and, we went from barking to the moon. Now we're barking at the drone. So let me go ahead and take the last break, and we'll close it out with a marriage story. Oh, wait. All right. Our last story comes from Variety. Whew. Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver fighting in Marriage Story is being used by the USDA to scare off wolves and save cattle. They need to know humans are bad. Yeah, we all know humans are bad, but I guess the wolves need to know too. A new report from the Wall Street Journal reveals that audio from Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver screaming at each other in Noah Bachman's Marriage Story is being used by the United States Department of Agriculture to scare off wolves from killing cattle and scaring livestock on farms across the America. The fight scene is the most emotionally volatile moment in Baumbach's 2019 drama, which earned both Johansson and Driver Oscar nominations. Now, full disclosure, I have not watched A Marriage Story, though I will say I am a big ScarJo and Adam Driver fan. I enjoy both of them. From the clips and stuff I've seen from this movie, very powerful, very moving. But I'll tell you the reason I haven't seen A Marriage Story. Motherfucker, I lived it, okay? I've gotten married. I've gotten divorced. That shit fucking sucks. So yeah, I'm sure they nailed their roles pretty well, at least from the meme. I don't want to watch that shit. Like, nah, I'm okay. That's like, me watching like racially motivated dramas. I love them. I used to watch them a lot more when I was younger. But I got to a certain age where I'm like, oh, this is reminding me of things that I've lived or like maybe things that my ancestors have experienced, and it makes me uncomfortable. Like, that's why I don't want to watch Roots, okay? Like, it's an amazing movie. I get it. I'm clapping already, but I don't want to watch Kunta Kinte get done up like that. I know, okay? I get it. I'm all right. Like, also Color Purple. So, yes, the Marriage Story falls into that range for me of movies that I know are powerful, probably very good, but you're not probably going to get me to sit down and watch them because it'll make me sad. And now you're making the wolves sad. So, I mean, I will say this beats the alternative of harming the wolves. You're not endangering the population in that regard. You're also saving your livestock, so I get it. They also do other things like making like loud noises, gunshots, fireworks sounds, alarm sounds. I believe they play AC/DC Thunderstruck. You've been thunderstruck. Imagine, dude, I will say though, imagine that imagery of like a wolf running away and there's like a drone in the background just playing fucking Thunderstruck. Like, fuck yeah, bro. Yeah. That kind of fucks. Put that shit on a van. I don't know. But obviously, pretty disruptive. But I will say it's an interesting marriage of you have your agriculture and you have this modern day technology of drones coming together to essentially be like a wolf scarecrow. They use the term wolf hazing. I don't like that. Do we want to haze the wolves? I thought hazing was canceled. Fuck. God damn. No, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, we'll call it whatever the fuck you want it. You're scaring the hoes, and the hoes are the wolves. And I mean, I guess in this situation, it's good to scare the hoes. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Marriage Story. Shout out to Wolves. Woo. And shout out to drones. I don't know. Maybe. Sure. Why not? Throw them on the pile. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I have. I just wanted to talk about A Marriage Story and how it's being used to scare off wolves. I thought that was a fun thing to learn about today. And that's really all I have. So let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's free action, helps out. Follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen on. I appreciate it because I'm there just waiting for you. But leave a like. That is also very helpful. Leave a comment. That's good for the algorithm as well. Sharing's caring. It just, gets the word out. You know what I mean? But yeah, you don't have to do any of that. I really just appreciate you hanging out and just taking a gander, having a listen. And I don't know where these accents come from. I don't know where they're from. Okay? Whatever. Don't worry about that. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.